Okay, so this is a deck profile of the little deck you just saw played, which is Gear Chronicles, and it's Gear Chronicles starter deck. This is literally just two starter decks put together, so easiest method you can possibly do. Start in Vanguard, because it's fantastic. It's arguably the best start in Vanguard of all three trial decks. I'll show you the triggers that I use. 4 of this draw, and that draw is probably going to stay in the deck in the final version. 4 of this draw, which is coming out at the first opportunity for criticals, because we're going to run 8 crit, 4 draw and 4 heal. 4 of this crit, generic 5k attack, critical, perfectly fine, no reason not to use it. And 4 of the heal. You'll notice that we're not using any of the stand triggers. Stands are only good in very, very specific decks. If you don't have a lot of cards, if you just use out your Vanguard, then it's always better to have draws and crits, because a stand will not help you unless you've got rear cards. You need to be almost in a winning condition before you can start using stands, unless you've got extremely good effects that work off the stand triggers, or unless the stand trigger is just ridiculous by itself. 4 perfect guards, because you get 2 perfect guards in each starter deck, so that is a fantastic thing, because there are 100 decks that I've wanted to play if I only had more perfect guards. We're only playing 2 of this guy, because of our ratio, which I'll show you the ratio later on, but this is the little thing that boosts the Vanguard. You only need 1 of it, and you only need to draw into it once a game, because unless the opponent is actually playing a deck very similar to this, or something that can actually destroy your rear guards, then you're just going to have this behind the Vanguard at all times. And if it's not behind the Vanguard, then it's a 6k, and you don't really want to use it as a 6k. We're going to play 4 of this little guy. He's 7k base, but he's also got the added effect that he can attack for 10 if you've got 1 on your G assist. But so he's the generic 7k that goes into 10k when he's attacking. Every deck has these things, and this is just the gimmick for this one. But the main reason for using these guys is because of the 7k attack, not because of the effect. The effect is bonus. The effect is if you're losing and you need additional cards, then at least 10 will hit things, where 7 will not, because at least 10 can hit rear guards. 4 of this, which is the 8k vanilla, which is going to come out at the first possible moment. The only reason to use it is if you don't have anything better. There hasn't been a good deck that's used 8k vanillas. Arguably, the only one that can really acknowledge it is Oracles, and that's because of Silent Tom. Because Silent Tom plus this equals 16, and 16 breaks numbers, and the opponent can't block with zeros. So that means the opponent actually has to discard 2 cards from hand when you use the effect. This guy is fantastic. That's not when the Vanguard, when this card attacks in the Vanguard, when this card attacks the Vanguard and it misses, or when this card attacks the Vanguard and it hits. It's just when this card attacks the Vanguard, so long as it's boosted, get rid of one of your opponent's guys, which is fantastic. There's multiple ways to build the deck. You can use it. You can use a lot of Current Blasts, or you can use just a whole bunch of things that only Current Blast 1. And for this is amazing. There is no reason to not run 4 of this in your final version of the deck. This guy, he's your regular 9k that comes 12k. Once again, every deck has this, exactly the same as the 7k that goes up to 10. And of course this is the Gear Chronicle, so it's the G assist on 1 to make him do that. 10k vanilla, this is going to be the first thing to come out at the first possible moment once the set is actually released. The only reason he's in here is because he's big. These 4 guys, they're the best of a bad situation. Unfortunately, it's 10k. If you use 11k, it'd be a little bit better, but there are better grade 3s that you can run once the set actually comes out. But in the meantime, this is the best thing you can run, because at least he's got a similar effect. If you've got 2 cards in your G-zone face up...
It's 1.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh wow, okay. Then he gets the added effect, you know, with the plus 16 attack, etc, etc. So I mean, at least he goes up to 16, which breaks numbers, you know, if you don't have enough for your stride, or if you don't want to go into it, or if you've already went into all of them, or whatever. So he's a nice substitute. This is the main thing to run in this deck. He's ridiculous.
4, always
like,
4.
Yeah, absolutely. No reason to not run 4 of it. Like when you G-assist over it, Current Blast 1 and just like get rid of an opponent's guy. It's not even sent to graveyard, it's sent to bottom of deck. And sending to bottom of deck is a lot more inconvenient for the opponent than sending it to the graveyard. Yeah. At least if you send it to the graveyard, if you're against a Legion deck, they're just like, yeah, cool, put it back. If you put it to the bottom of the deck, they're like, oh, well now how do I get it? You know. Not only that, but he's also got the added effect of if you've got 2 face up, then your opponent can't guard with, is this grade 1s or higher?
Grade 1s are higher and
Yeah.
against 5k.
So like your opponent can block with grade 1s or higher, which is amazing. That's the Maelstrom ability, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus the 5k is.
And also, like, I mean, that's not even a counterblast. That's actually just free that he gets that, which is insane. And there's another version of him in the set, which is the exact same effect, except your opponent can't block with grade 0s, which is like the fact you can run both of them in the deck is ridiculous. This is your starting Vanguard Stride. His effect is not great. I mean, if you pull it off, it's fantastic. It's just that you never will.
It's pure luck based.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no way for you to stack your deck manually. So you literally just have to be lucky enough to like get the 4 cards off of it. I mean, if you do it, you should win. But you know, it's really, really unlikely. I mean, Ragnarok is a lot better, and the card that's Generation Rare that I've currently forgotten the name of are both infinitely better. And since your deck is limited to 8 only, then unfortunately these guys are going to come out once you get the other strides. However, those strides are all triple Rs and Generation Rares, so I mean, getting them is not going to be easy, and these guys are like okay, they're good enough until you get to that point. And this is the last one, which is the promo, which you might have seen me using. Well, it was sitting at the side. I didn't actually bring it out, almost deliberately so, because I just wanted to show off the starter decks. These guys don't come in the starter deck, but this is what I'm currently using as just a secondary thing for this. And right, finally, I'll just go over the numbers. So I mean, obviously your 8 cards in your extra deck, 8 grade 3s. At one time, you would use 7 grade 3s and 12 grade 2s. The percentage ratio of drawing them isn't actually all that different, so it's perfectly fine to go either or. I prefer the grade 3s simply for the stride deck because I want to discard a grade 3 rather than discarding 2 cards to stride. That is 11 grade 2s. These are 14 grade 1s, which is why I'm only running 2 of that, because you run 4, 4, 4 and 2. And the 2 that you want to run are the ones that boost the Vanguard, and obviously your 16 triggers, which are mandatory. Doing that, going 16, 14, 11/12, and then 8/7, depending what one you go with there, is the best ratio you can possibly do for your decks. That gives you the highest ratio of drawing into, your next ride and not having to rely on your Generation Blast to actually check, because that just minuses you. Obviously, it won't guarantee that you always ride your next card, or you won't draw into what you need, but it does give you the highest percentage, and consistency is a lot better than getting lucky once or twice. So that's Generation Gear Chronicles. You starter decks, and that's 2 decks put together, and it's pretty much competitive as it is.